Hi everybody, hope you're all well. It's been a while, I know, but a lot of you know that I started 2 jobs in sort of like the last four to 5 weeks. One job's in a school for a couple of days a week, and the other is in a tea room in Constable Country. And I have to say, I mean, I've been doing school kitchen jobs off and on for years, but the tea room I'm really enjoying. And in a way, this recipe is kind of inspired by the tea room's signature quiche, roasted pepper tomato quiche. It's absolutely delicious, the one at work, so I thought I really wanted to replicate it at home. However, I had slight issues because obviously, you know, when you're going from a recipe at work, it's different because it's all standard, you know what you're filling, etc. But at home, and I'll show you the tins, I had these 2 cake tins. They're 6 inches diameter, and I've used this a lot on the channel because they fit the Ninja 451 and also the 400 because they're 6 inches in diameter. They're also 2 inches deep. So I was completely clueless about the quantities that I needed, and I thought, well, why not ask Grok AI, and that's via X, to help me work out the quantities, and it did. We're going to go through that in a minute because I screenshot everything because I thought it was actually really useful. So if you had a recipe but random sized containers, you know, that you use, that obviously the recipe that you're going from isn't, you know, if you're converting an oven recipe to an air fryer recipe like this, and you have your random sized containers, then this is an absolutely brilliant way to work out your volume. It would have taken me, do you know what, I don't think I would have been able to, I would have had to excess. I mean, we don't really know because I've laid out all the ingredients. We are going to test it therefore and see whether or not it's kind of accurate. I have already made my pastry. I've did my hot water crust pastry. This is what I've made before. I will put a link in the description, but whilst I'm talking about it right now, you'll see me, because I made this morning. So I think it was 300 grams of plain flour, 70 grams of lard, 70 grams of butter. You melt the butter in the water, in the simmering water, and once the butter and lard are completely melted, you throw it into the flour mix. I actually opted to add chives and black pepper, freshly ground, because I love to do that. But obviously there's a little bit of salt in there as well, which was standard sort of recipe. This has been in the fridge for 2 hours, and it's been out of the fridge for 30 minutes. So it's getting close to being usable, pliable, you know, all that kind of stuff. So very happy with that. And that's hopefully going to be enough for 2 of these tins. That is the one thing that I didn't AI. I've just gone from I think it should be fine. Split completely in half. Hopefully each half should be enough for these tins. I hope so. I may be falling up the first hurdle, but we shall see. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go through the ingredients and then we're going to get cracking and make this quiche. So AI calculated that for these 2 tins, I've got 6 eggs, 325 grams of milk. It's not whole milk though, because I just didn't have it, but perhaps whole milk would have been better, but I don't think it truly matters. And 325 grams of double cream. And then for the filling, it's a roasted pepper, and all the quantities, or rather grams, will be, well, they'll probably be floating up actually. It's been a while. I've forgotten the process. Spring onions, roasted pepper, cherry tomatoes and cheese. And I'm going to blind bake with my rice I've had. This is my blind baking rice that I keep in a tub. So we'll be blind baking the pastry once I've kind of got that set up. So I'm going to cut up the ingredients, mix all of the custard together whilst we're blind baking the pastry. So let's crack on, get these chopped, get the pastry out. I mean, I'm waiting, it's getting close. It's getting close where I can roll it out and get cracking making this Constable Country inspired quiche. Okay, I've just cut everything up. I tell you what, Smells absolutely fresh and delicious. There is basil in there, which I didn't use in the calculations because it's just basil, but it adds, that's part of the recipe, and it actually adds a really lovely flavour. But then the cheese is grated in there. Smells delicious. I'm actually going to now roll out two halves, one for each tin. Hopefully, this is the bit I'm a bit nervous about because I'm thinking, have I got enough? I've already made my custard, so the eggs, then the cream and the milk are all mixed together, and I have added pepper, freshly ground pepper into there. I love using freshly ground pepper. I stick it on everything. Right, so let's roll out these, my pastry blocks. Right, that's not looking too bad. I mean, I think I might have to patch in order to create a circle, as it were. But let's just get it in there and see what happens. It is quite thick, to be fair. But I've only got this on a setting and it's broken, so I can't get it any thinner. I might have to try though, to be fair. So I'm just patching up where it's running a bit short, and I'm going to leave it overhanging as well, like this, in the whole cooking process, so that I'll trim after it's cooked, right? You know, with the quiche filling at the very end. Anyway, that'll be kind of one of the last things I'll do. Right, that's the other one. I'm just going to repeat the process for the second. I've kind of had to patch, but I'm going to try in the second one to make it perhaps a bit more even. Maybe shape this into a ball. I mean, it's been a while, so I'm by no means an expert. So I am actually, I think it's occurred to me to do that, because I should have thought about that before, but hey ho. Right, that's those two done. I'm just going to clean up, prick the bottoms and put them in the fridge for 30 minutes before we blind bake. Right, these have been in the fridge for 30 minutes and they feel nice and cold, which is great. So we're going to preheat the air fryer for 5 minutes quickly. One of the reasons I really love the COSORI TWINFRY, it's so big. It really is. It's so good for families. So we're going to bake it 150 Celsius, or what's that, 300 Fahrenheit. Do you know, I really love the chives. You see that? The speckled chives, the speckled pepper, love that. I have pricked both bases. Let's get the rice in. I've already got some pre-prepared paper. Right, 5 minutes of preheat are up. Well, that's one. Oh, it's a tricky because you're dropping it in, so that's a bit tricky. Yeah, it's good to make sure the paper isn't reaching the top because we don't want any fires. See how that goes. So we're adding 7 minutes, but I will check it at 5. Okay, I've just added 3 minutes to the, what did I add? Was it 7 minutes? I think it was 7 minutes. So obviously I'll have to edit that. I'll put here what the correct time is. It's not quite done, it's not even light brown, and the grok answer, that it probably didn't indicate, I didn't say it was hot water crust pastry or how thick it was. So there is always adjustments, but I'm really glad for the kind of like the guidance or the guidelines so far. I do feel the liquid, you know, the cream and the milk and the eggs seems too much, but we'll see when we come to pouring. But you know, it's been quite a good experiment so far. So yeah, we'll come and have a look when the 10 minutes are up, if that's how long. I'm sure I put 7 minutes. Anyway, I've extended by 3, so we'll see what it looks like at 10 minutes, and if we need to add, we will. See you in a bit. So the 10 minutes are up, so let's have a look. So it needs a couple more minutes. It needs to be a little bit more golden brown, not much more though, so I'm just going to add 2 more minutes. Grand zone, what was it? 160, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, just to get it a little bit more of a colour because it's quite pale. See you in a bit. I asked I said, if I have excess custard, can you read that? If I have excess custard from this recipe, what could I use that for? So Grok answered, and it kind of gives all the ingredient, you know, the amounts, because the conversation has already happened, so it knows I'm talking about this recipe. Ideas for using excess custard, and it's assumed that I've seasoned it with salt and pepper because it was for the quiche. And it says like the exact amount of excess custard isn't specified, but even a small amount, e.g. 100 to 300 ml, can be used creatively. The custard is raw. It's sort of summarising what it's assuming, because the way I framed my question, I didn't tell it was cooked, but it obviously knows when I say excess custard, it knows I haven't cooked it. And it hasn't been mixed with the add-ins, i.e. the tomatoes, onions, peppers and cheese. So ideas for using excess custard: mini quiches or frittatas. And I'm actually quite liking this idea. Like, pour the custard into muffin tins, ramekins or a small baking dish, add in any leftover quiche fillings, which is obviously we know what they are, and maybe even add some, if you had ham or cooked bacon or more herbs, etc. So if I do have excess custard, this is what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to grease the muffin tins, which I've got a few of, add the fillings if I've got any excess, and then do this. I mean, that's really good. And this is what, oh, that's finished already. So that I love that. That's kind of like a added on from my recipe, you know. And I mean, this is a long. This is what started it, and I've already put a screenshot of this. But it says I've got 2 tins to make a homemade quiche measuring 6 inches, and I've given and then it's just incredibly detailed, as you can see. So it was just screenshots you've seen some of, but look at that. I mean, this just goes on, and you can copy if you don't know this already. But you can copy to clipboard. Oops, there it is. And then put it in a sort of, I would put that in a Google Doc. So I really love that feature. Right, let's have a look now. Okay, so next step, remove the rice, parchment paper, and cook for a further 2 to 5 minutes without this added on. So you can see here, I'm going to try and lift this out without taking out the actual, this might be tricky, but I'm going to try. Oh, I don't want to put any rice. So I will save that so it's kind of like the perfect size. Then we can have a proper look at the pastry bases. But I'm going to try and extract without spilling. So far, so good. Obviously, I need to let this rice completely cool before I put the lid on and put back all my bits of paper that fit certain dishes and all that. So I'm just going to set this aside, let that cool. Fantastic. Come and have a look, because then we're going to let it cook for a further 3 to 5 minutes, as I said. So that's good to be able to see, because you know it's turning a nice light brown, which is perfect. Just move that a bit, because there's enough air circulation with the whole with both tins in like that, so plenty of space. So that's absolutely fantastic. So let's get this back in and on for a further 3 to 5 minutes. There we go. Nice and gently, because I don't want to knock anything around. So I've got back on again, grand zone, bake, 160, 3 minutes, but I might extend to 2 rather than 5 and forget, and it's too much. See you in a bit. Right, it's just ended. So I actually added a minute because I did have a quick peek when the 3 minutes was nearly up. So 4 minutes, and actually I'm quite pleased with this. So come and have a look. So there we are. They have bubbled up a bit. Not you know, it's not perfection is not my middle name. But let's get these out. Get them on that board, let them cool before we start filling them. In fact, I want them completely cold, so I'm going to give them a good 20 to 30 minutes to get completely cool. And if there are any cracks, holes, or anything that needs repairing, I've got a little bit of raw pastry that I will use if I need it. If I don't need it, that's great. But if I did need it, I would patch up with this and cook for a 2 to 3 minutes as advised by Grok. So pretty good advice there. So let's get this out. carefully. There. Right, something different. I need something slightly different to extract because of the overhanging pastry. Means that this, my normally really good thing, isn't really going to be helpful because I need to leave that overhanging for the whole cooking process. So this, I've just got to be a bit imaginative about how I get these out. But that is the way of air fryers, because the way that you have to drop it in, which is fine. And it is pastry, so I really don't want to break off the edges because I don't want to leave that overhanging like that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's hot. Right, let's turn that off for the moment. We don't need that on for a while. Let's have another close look. All of these ingredients are waiting to be mixed, but I'll just set that aside because I don't need them yet. Just, oh, I tell you what though, fresh smells. Come and have another closer look. And we'll see if we need to repair anything, like mend holes, not create them. Yeah, I mean, it's rustic, but you know, once the filling's in and the custard's in, and at the very end I've trimmed, they're going to look even better. So let's leave these to cool, and I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, I got my custard, egg, milk, cream, seasoning. Pastries have cooled nicely, and we're going to just quickly mix all this together, all my fresh filling ingredients, which includes roasted peppers, basil, cherry tomatoes, spring onions. I'm staring at it. You know, mix it all well together, and it'd be really interesting to see whether the amount is just right for these quiche. Yeah, for the quiche pie cases. Smells absolutely delicious, and smells exactly what we make at my Constable Country tea room. So I like to make sure that absolutely everything in the bowl is extracted. There we go. I'm actually rather pleased with that, I have to be honest, and the basil is smelling lovely. So let's go with the custard now. Okay, there is quite a lot left, but with the tips for excess custard, I'm definitely going to be doing. I think I'll just save that for tomorrow morning. So let's get this in the air fryer. I don't need my wastage, but this is going to go in the freezer, and I will add to this when I make this recipe again. Okay, here we go. Grand zone bake, 160 for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm not sure, this is just for a general air fryer instruction, so let's say 20, and I may need to, I more than likely need to add 5 up to 10 minutes. So we'll just go with that. See you in a bit. Okay, we've got 20 seconds left of the 25 minutes, I think it was. Oh, I can't even remember. We're going to temperature check, but it is quite wobbly, doing the wobble test, so come and have a closer look. Okay, just a quick temperature check. Seems hotter on the right hand side. Oops, I'll clean my probe in a minute. Let's just add 5 or 10 minutes. I'd say, can you see? Let's have a look. Okay, let's just say 8 minutes. See where that gets us. See you in a bit. Right, I'm adding 5 more minutes. I've just temperature checked. It's just under, it's about high 60s, and it's still very liquidy. So, and it's 22 seconds left of the, did I add on any minutes? I don't know until I've edited it. I forgot already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more minutes. Let's see how that is then. See you in a bit. Right, so I added a further 3 minutes. I'll put the total time here now because I've completely lost track. The one on the right is ready, it's over 75 degrees, but the one on the left is around 73 and I really want it to be at full temperature. So I'm going to get this out with a bit of difficulty because that's the one that's ready. And then the other one, move it along to the right because it's slightly uneven heating there. Bits of crust are falling off, pie crust. I love pie crust. That won't go to waste. I'm going to add 3 minutes because on the right hand side, so it shouldn't take too long. Leave this one, which you can have a look at now, to completely cool before I kind of trim the edges and taste test. I've not added any further minutes and it's over 75 degrees, so good to go, as in let it cool. I mean, it's over 80. Clean the probe in a minute, I can wait. I want to get this out and let it cool. Oh, thank God for that. I mean, you know, air fryers, it's a general air fryer. I didn't specifically ask times and temperatures for this. I wanted it to be a bit more vague and general because air fryers, the temperature is always the same, but you often have to adjust because it all depends on the size of your basket and all that jazz. You know the drill. So come and have a closer look to both of these. So that's the one on the left, which I've just taken out. I'm very happy, I've got to be honest. Looks absolutely fantastic. I will be trimming the sides in a bit, and that's the one on the right. I mean, maybe I could have gone higher on the old filling, but you know, that's absolutely perfect. Very happy with that. Right, so I will see you in a bit for the taste test. Hi everybody, it's actually the next day. I did have a slight disaster. It was so soft, this other one, not this one, that it kind of collapsed. So I ended up eating it for dinner. It was getting late and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I would definitely recommend, if you're going to make this kind of thing, make it for the next day because it really gives it a chance to firm up in the fridge. It's still in its base, so we're going to sort of turn it round and try and extract it. This is the tricky bit, to be fair, but because it's so firm from being in the fridge, I'm hoping. Oh, actually, no, I've got to trim it first. What am I doing? Right, knife. Trim the pastry. Because it's hot crust pastry, it's very firm. It's going to make a right mess. Whoop. Yeah, but I'm glad I did it now. Don't do this. Do this while it's still in the tin if you're going to give this a go. Yep, lovely. Right, now we're going to try and extract. Hopefully, it should be fairly easy. Still some paper. I can hopefully, you know, yeah, there we go. There we go. Lovely. All right. Okay. That's looking a lot better. I mean, in terms of handling, I can handle it because it just collapsed. It was still too warm. I was being impatient because time was cracking on. It was getting late, gone 6 in the evening, late afternoon. You know, it does look a little bit like it needs further cooking there, but I don't know how to improve that. So I'm just going to kind of tidy up these loose crust bits and then we're going to kind of slice it. Okay, nicely tidied up the board. I'm going to try and slice this. So I'm going to slice it completely in half so we can see what's going on in the middle. Oh, really good. Happy days. Okay, because this is my first quiche, I definitely would recommend cooking for perhaps a bit longer. It's still quite wet, but it's cooked enough for me. But maybe really kind of add another 5-10 minutes depending, you know. And it had hit temperature, so that, I mean, it's moist. I don't know. Would you say that was undercooked? I don't know. I mean, it was over 75 degrees, so, you know, that's the most important thing. And I can cut slices, which is fantastic. So we're just going to have a little slice for a taste test. And the rest will go back in the fridge. Oh, lovely. Now, I mean, I wouldn't be unhappy with that. That's really, you can see the roasted pepper inside there, a little bit of the old spring onions, cherry tomatoes, a bit of basil. So it's such a lovely filling, it really is. God, I'm looking forward to this. I have obviously had some of this for dinner last night. Warm, excuse me, still hot, warm from the air fryer, and it was absolutely delicious. But cold, you know. So this will be it today. I'll save the rest for like the lunch for everybody. But yeah. Oh, such lovely flavours. Oh, I really love that. It's fresh. Really delicious. With a bit of basil, a hint of basil there. Oh, especially with the a little bit of the aftertaste of basil. That's lovely. The roasted red pepper. I actually roasted that as well prior to, you know, I just put bunged the whole one in, drizzled it with olive oil, and it quickly roasted it for 10 minutes in the dual blaze. Any air fryer would do. Turning it occasionally, you know. Oh yeah, that's nice. So that adds, it sweetens the pepper. It really does. That's really lovely. And the pastry is really lovely. It's a softer, obviously, the cooked side of it, but I am quite happy with the sides. They're looking really all right. And this is the first time in my whole pastry making history, which isn't very much, but where I've got a decent lip going around the sides, where because I overhung it and didn't trim it at that point, trim, it's come out really well because you trim it at the very end. Top tip I learned from my school kitchen, because my school cook makes a quiche for the staff, and that's what she does. So I was like, oh, that's what I need to do. I mean, bits of bacon would go down very well, but if it's very delicious, absolutely delicious. I really do love those flavours. Well, I mean, this is it's nearly lunchtime. Creamy, delicious. Well, I'm very happy. This is something I would make again for the next day. I think that's an ultimate, because this could be reheated as well, as long as it hits 75 degrees when you may need to cover the top, or maybe turn it upside down, cook it from upside down. If you wanted to serve it hot, that I would do that, and I could do that as it is right now, and that would probably help finish off that very bottom. It doesn't impact on taste or anything like that. It's just right, you know, it's just enough. Anyway, if you've reached the end, I really appreciate it, because I'm editing the rest of it, and it seems to be quite a long one. I don't want them too long, the videos. This will be released on a Friday. There'll be a recipe vlog every Friday, and bonus ones if I manage to get any vlogging done. But always a recipe one on a Friday night. So unless something drastic's happened, but I'll, you know, hopefully not. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.